Good morning and welcome to Sunday. Here we are, day number 7 of our week. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is a great day, and we're finishing up this particular idea that we've been meditating upon out of Matthew chapter 5. We're looking at the hard sayings of Jesus, remembering that they're hard in two ways. At times they're hard to understand because we don't understand the culture and the setting in which he spoke them. Then the other way that they're hard, they were hard to those who heard him. And that is the Pharisees, Sadducees, and others, even the common people at times, wrestled with what Jesus said because it was such bold truth that it was something they couldn't handle. In fact, there were times that even the disciples would say, "This is a hard saying." And sometimes in frustrations they would ask, "Why do you speak to us in hard sayings or riddles or things that are difficult to understand?" At other times they would wonder why he spoke to them with such blunt force truth. You ever heard of somebody suffering from blunt force trauma? There were times we can see the disciples, they seemed to be suffering from a blow to the heart when truth would strike them deeply. Blunt force trauma of the truth. BFTT, blunt force trauma of the truth. And men love to avoid the absolute crux of truth, the absolute center of truth. And they tend to skirt around it and avoid it. And so we're kind of getting into the depth of that in this hard saying of Jesus. And with that, by way of introduction, we're going to move on into a meditation on the hard sayings of Jesus. And today, as we're looking at unsalty salt and hidden light, we're at the part now where we're talking about this idea of hiding the light. Jesus has to tell us in the same way, let your light shine before others. We covered that in detail yesterday. Allow your light to shine before others because you are the lights in the world. And here we get into the focus of finishing this up with this idea, that they may see your good deeds. Now, what is the problem, the main problem with the invisible God of the universe, the one who is invisible to the created realm in which we live? There are those who say, therefore he does not exist because I cannot see him with my physical eyes. And so we have a calling upon us as the lights in the world to reflect the glory of God and to bring it to focus and to bear upon people, skeptical as well as searching. We have just a broad range of people out there. He has said, let your light shine before others that they may see. So that they need to see. Isn't that the claim? Thomas even said, I won't believe until I see these scars, see these wounds. I won't believe until I see. Jesus says it was better to not have to see in order to believe, but he said it was more blessed to not have to see and yet believe. Yet what did he say? He said, Thomas, hear, look, handle, feel, interact with me. I want you to be believing. And if seeing is what it takes, let's do something that they can see. If we're not careful, the religious mindset says it's all invisible, it all takes place in our minds, in our hearts, and it's all intensely private. But what does Jesus establish here? You need to let your light shine before others, and those others are a broad collection of people. Jew, Gentile, obvious division, men and women, young and old, bond and free. looking, searching, and wondering, as well as skeptical and closed-minded. These are the others that we are letting our light shine before, so that they may see. Now notice it says, may see. They may see something and do something. So here's what they for sure can see: your good deeds. Light shining is bringing out the kingdom and its principles out for people to actually see them taking place in the life of someone. They need to see your good deeds, your activities that are inspired by good. They're inspired by God, divinely inspired actions. Now, they may be mundane, simple things, like a random act of kindness. It may be a glittering display of God's grace with a dynamic healing. It could be that. The nature of the light is multifaceted and manifold, just as white light breaks out into the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet spectrum. There is a full spectrum of good deeds which range from the most mundane, everyday, dull, dry, boring, but necessary, all the way through incidental, spectacular, amazing, and absolutely awe-inspiring. This is the full range, and we see those things happen in the book of Acts, in the life of the disciples. We see them beginning to happen in the Gospels, in the life of the disciples. They are going out and letting their light shine so that they may see your good deeds. So for sure, they're going to see. They're going to experience something physically and tangibly. So we have to understand God wants something to happen physically and tangibly in the lives of others. And He does that through those who believe. And here's the other part: glorify your Father in heaven. Now, here's how we want to read this sometimes. Let your light shine before others, and all of them will then glorify your Father in heaven. And we get upset because the response to the light and this full spectrum of light is at times bitter rejection. Why would I let my light shine if people are going to bitterly reject it? I feel like they're rejecting me. Or what's it going to take for this person to receive this? He puts it into a conditional sentence, that they may see your good deeds. And we could even insert this word in here, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Maybe after they for sure see your good deeds, they may glorify your Father in heaven. So we do this in hope. We do this in hopes that people, having seen this activity of God's grace, may then respond to this grace by glorifying God in heaven. When a sinner comes and repents, what are they doing? Glorifying our Father in heaven. They're coming to the Father. They're coming to His glory. They're responding to His offer. So, let's take this away today. It's a proposition that we do something that people can witness, be affected by, and tangibly encounter. It's still iffy whether they will respond properly to it. We are not responsible for their response. We're responsible to display the light. We are responsible to engage with people with good activity, the activity of heaven, The demonstration of the goodness and mercy of God needs to be reflected through our life, tangibly. Something they can wrap their arms around and receive. And the result is not our responsibility. They may or may not glorify our Father in heaven. We're not responsible for the results. We are responsible for the activity of demonstrating and reflecting the goodness and mercy of God. Let that sink in today on this Sunday. How merciful and good God is, and how merciful and good we need to be to others. Grace and peace to you as you think upon that. Let that sink down deep into your spirit and bring transformation and change so that life can be shown like never before. The Lord bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.